Time, a key part of a lot of Christopher Nolan films. But what is this fascination with time? What is it about this dimension that intrigues Nolan so much to the extent that it informs the basis of some of his films? That's what I'm here to find out. Whether it be visually, like how his children in Interstellar end up older than him, even how the Endurance has a strong resemblance of a clock, or audibly, with how the soundtrack tells its own tale, commonly the brilliance of Hans Zimmer. Even the way he decides to tell his stories, often creating a complex narrative that takes the audience on a multi-sensory journey filled with twists and turns. But at the forefront of it all is time. Christopher Nolan films are often a spectacle, with his persistent use of IMAX cameras creating incredibly detailed visuals that take the viewer into a vast, larger-than-life world he's created. But it's not just about how good the shot looks, it's about what the shot tells us. With ideas as complex as Nolan's, it can be hard to translate that into visuals, especially when the idea involves a dimension that isn't even seen, but is felt.
Where it doesn't need to be understood, it needs to be felt, and you just need to have this great experience. You know, what that does for you is very daunting.
So how does Nolan show time to his viewers? One way Nolan portrayed time to the audience was in Interstellar, when Cooper ends up on Miller's planet and due to the time dilation, he loses 23 years on Earth in the short time that he spent on Miller's planet.
What's this gonna cost us, Brand?
A lot. Decades.
The real loss for Cooper is that it's 23 years of his children's lives that he's never going to get back. When they get back to the Endurance, they see Romilly, who is visibly aged. This is a subtle insight into what's to come.
Hello, Rom.
I've waited years.
How many years?
Messages span 23 years.
Play it from the beginning.
We see Tom's age through the backlog of video messages that are played, but what's great about this scene is that he doesn't just focus on Tom and how he's gotten older, but instead, he holds the shot of Cooper to really show the consequence of the time lost on Miller's planet as he sits and watches back the years that he's lost. Seeing Cooper breaking down gives the audience the perspective of the parent, which viewers can sympathise with. This builds on a strong theme of love that is further touched upon near the end of the film, when Cooper drops into the black hole, having already accepted the fact that he's not going to see his children again.
Do that.
Much to everyone's surprise, the black hole turns out to hold a tesseract that is effectively a library of memories that Cooper can physically interact with. The memories in question are all located in Murph's room.
That's why I'm here. I'm gonna find a way to tell Murph, just like I found this moment.
How, Cooper?
The love, Tars, love. It's just like Brand said. My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable. It's the key.
Nolan communicates that it's love that transcends time, to build upon this theme that he'd already developed throughout the story and further hone in on the connection between Cooper and Murph. It adds another layer to the narrative that had previously been hidden because of this information not being available to us yet. Cooper being Murph's ghost suddenly explains what brought him there, and adds a lot of weight to his words from earlier on in the film.
Sorry, Murph. Go back to bed, man.
I thought you were the ghost.
No. No such thing as ghosts, babe.
Grandpa says you can get ghosts.
But it's not just Interstellar that visually manipulates time. Inception's use of slow motion is another way Nolan visually shows the manipulation of time in his films. This scene where the van is fallen is shot at a higher frame rate, reaching up to 2,000 frames per second, so that it can be slowed down enough to resemble just how time is affected the deeper you go into each layer of the dream world. This visual storytelling puts into perspective how the layers of the dream world are intertwined and just how the actions of the characters affects the subsequent dream layers.
It's too soon.
Inception is famed for its open ending. By having the totem spinning at the end, it left the audience wondering whether he made it back to reality or not. The truth is that Cobb has now accepted whatever reality he's in now, whether it be in the dream world or the real world. His time is now a reflection of his experiences as opposed to the constant linear progression of time naturally. However, the ending of Memento isn't quite as ambiguous. It shows the two narratives the audience have been watching separately connecting when the black and white scenes merge with the colour scenes. As a viewer, you finally get to connect the dots that had been so elusive throughout the film, It's also damning in the sense that you realise that Leonard is going to forget everything all over again. Nolan's use of visual storytelling in order to effectively translate the themes and philosophies of time within his narrative is very effective, but it's not just visually in which he communicates a manipulation of time. Films directed by Christopher Nolan are often criticised for their sound mixing. At times the dialogue can be hard to hear, but sometimes this is what Nolan intends. The soundtrack of a film might accompany the visuals rather fittingly, but it's the finer details in the sound that truly help tell a story. The sound for Dunkirk was crafted by Hans Zimmer as he once again collaborated with Nolan for this action war film. One technique that is synonymous with these two in working in collaboration is the use of the shepherd tone, an auditory illusion in which several tones are separated by an octave layered on top of each other. As the tones move up the scale, the higher pitched tone gets quieter, whilst the middle pitch remains loud and the lowest bass pitch starts to become more audible. Your brain is tricked into hearing a constant increase in tone because at least two tones can always be heard rising in pitch. This effectively means that the sound can be infinitely rising. By using this sound in Dunkirk, it creates this sense of unrelenting tension that keeps on increasing. The shepherd tone is not the only way he delivers tension audibly. In Interstellar, the score for Miller's Planet feels like a pressure cooker. From the moment they land, there's this ominous ticking sound that plays in the background. It ticks every 1.25 seconds, but what the ticking resembles is what truly makes the scene so tense. Each tick resembles a day on Earth, and so as we are watching them try to collect data, the days on Earth are rapidly ticking away. This audio cue creates a subtle connection between the visuals and the audio that present the narrative on a much deeper level. These details really help deliver the narrative on more than just face value. It shows thought and consideration of not only the character's experience, but how the viewer is taken along this journey with them. The journey, with Nolan, soft and complex, but that's where the heart of the story lies, in the delivery of the... Nolan often employs a non-linear narrative structure which is often complex. It has been prevalent in his movies even as early as his first feature film he made called The Following, but he really picked up notoriety with Memento when he decided to tell the story of a man burdened with anterograde amnesia trying to find his wife's killer, both forwards and backwards.
So, okay, what do you have? You have the beginning of the film here. Best way to draw it is as a hairpin, like that. That's basically the end of the movie. This stuff is the black and white stuff. This is color, and this is running backwards as a series of jumps. And what we do is we cut between the two the whole way through. So we alternate scene here, scene there, scene there, scene there, scene there, scene there, and they meet towards the end of the film. The end of the film being sort of there-ish, after it turns into color and kind of leads us into the beginning of that preceding scene. We didn't want to step outside his head. We wanted to present the audience with that problem effectively and say, he can't ever get outside his head and recognize what the objective truth is.
Experiencing the narrative this way puts the viewer in the shoes of Leonard because we're having to watch this fragmented narrative slowly unfold in a manner that is disjointed. Similar to how Leonard has to piece together his life through notes and tattoos, we have to do the same with each scene. This constant back and forth switching between these two narratives is typical of Nolan and his other films too. Interstellar has you watching Cooper putting in the code for the gravity data into the watch at the same time Murph finds it, when in actuality many years have passed since she'd found the watch, but by putting these two narratives side by side it gives full context to the viewer and works better for the narrative. Oppenheimer has taken the view to various points of Robert's life, ranging from his youth to the days of the Trinity test. By going in between these various points of his life, it can paint a clearer picture of the effects his actions had in retrospect, for better or for worse. All of these films have risen to great acclaim, which is a testament to the style Nolan employs and his consistency with using time as a protagonist. What this video essay set out to explore was why Nolan has this fascination with time, and what I found is that he doesn't limit himself by time. He uses time to his advantage to deepen his plots and provide a complex avenue to explore themes of the film that he's trying to make. It allows for him to pose deeper philosophical questions to the audience, like whether Cobb is still in limbo or whether he's made it back to reality. All of these questions come as a consequence of the way Nolan chooses to deliver his narratives and focus on time as the uncredited main character of his films.